What's up, people? So today we're here to talk about topic 5, geographical, historical and cultural framework of English-speaking countries, didactic application of relevant geographical, historical and cultural aspects. So in this topic we're going to focus on these three important things. This is the geographical framework, historical framework and cultural framework of Great Britain and Ireland. Then we will move on to the United States of America, and then we will talk about other English-speaking countries such as Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. When we finish these, we are going to see how can we apply all this information in our didactic form, right, in class. So we are going to start. As you can see, I have created this topic that, as you know, you have the link in the description. So if you want to buy it, you have it on Amazon, or you can talk with me on X. I will send it to you. I have divided all these into geographical framework, physical and political aspects, then historical framework a little bit, and cultural framework that we have divided into both language and literature and British festivals. Same with Ireland, a little bit more schematic in Ireland, but more or less the same, right? Then we'll move on to the United States of America. We will do the same, exactly the same, as you can see. And then with the other cultural English-speaking countries, we will be a little bit more schematic, more like Ireland, right? So all the topic is divided into this part, so you can focus on this and you have this in mind when you go to the exam. It's easier to do this. So, as always, I'm going to read, and then if needed, I will explain something. But this topic, I'm telling you, that is to study. It's studying and that's it. Because as we know, culture is culture, history is history, political administration is political administration, physical aspects of or geographical aspects of the country are these, and there's nothing more like that. Okay, so let's just start with the introduction. I created this introduction bearing in mind that there are some or entering straight away in this topic some important aspects or cultural aspects of different countries, because as we know is the introduction. So it's as follows: the Empire State Building, the London Bridge, the Niagara Falls, the Australian coral reefs, Halloween, 5 o'clock English tea, the 4th of July, jeans, culture. So many things belonging to English-speaking countries, and so many things to know, to learn, to experience. As we already know, there's no language without its culture. So if we want the students to learn English, we must teach them the culture that surrounds it. Our current educational law, LOMLOE, establishes that the main goal of teaching a foreign language is to develop students' communicative competence, which is the capacity for using any language appropriately in a real context. Teaching English as a means of communication will lead our students to achieve that goal. In this topic, we are going to see the importance culture has when learning a language, and how social, cultural, and geographical aspects affect the way a language is learned and transmitted. So let's go to the first two extremely important countries or parts or English-speaking parts of the world, that is Great Britain and Ireland. It's extremely important that you know the countries that form Great Britain. It's not England. It's not only England, as you know. We've got Wales, we've got Scotland, we've got Northern Ireland. So it's very important, as we're going to see. And then talking about Ireland, we are talking about the Republic of Ireland. That is a completely different country than Northern Ireland. Okay, as we know, it's divided, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. So Great Britain, geographical framework of Great Britain. Talking about physical aspects. Regarding physical aspects in Great Britain, the British Isles is the geographical name of a set of islands situated in the north of the European continent. The main island is called Great Britain, and the second one is Ireland, made up of Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. The north and west of Britain is mountainous and hilly. in Scotland we can find the highest peak, called Ben Nevis. Much of the south and east is flat. Britain is one of the most urbanized countries in the world, and London is the capital. British weather is humid and cool. The main British river is the Thames. So these are common sense, and we all know more or less this part, right? Maybe the highest peak, we don't know that, but the main British river, some of the most important cities, for example, London, Manchester, etc. We should know that. Political aspects. With regard to the political aspect, there are 4 different countries in the UK. England, the capital is London, Scotland, Edinburgh, Wales, Cardiff, and Northern Ireland, capital is Belfast. Britain is divided into counties with its own local authority. The UK is a constitutional monarchy, and King Charles III is the head of state, the head of the Church of England, and the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces, although it is the Prime Minister who governs Britain. The British Parliament has 2 chambers, the House of the Commons and the House of the Lords. The currency is the sterling pound. So this is the important part in political aspects, right? Everything that we know about the government, the monarchy, capitals, the currency, etc. Okay, very different from the physical aspect, like mapa político y mapa físico. Historical framework. Well, history of Great Britain is unsurmountable. It's very difficult to know all these more in an exam of 2 hours. Very difficult to condense this historical framework, but we need to condense it, and we are going to see what I choose to be the most important parts of the historical framework of Great Britain. Let's see. The history of the United Kingdom stretches back over 10,000 years, with evidence of human settlements in the region during the Stone Age. Over the centuries, the region we know today as the United Kingdom has been home to many cultures and civilizations, including the Celts, the Romans, the Anglo-Saxons, and the Vikings. In the 11th century, William the Conqueror invaded England and established the Kingdom of England, unifying much of the region under his control. Over the following centuries, England became involved in numerous wars and conflicts, including the 100-Year War and the English Civil War, which culminated in the execution of King Charles I in 1649. In 1707, England and Scotland joined to form the Kingdom of Great Britain, and in 1801, Ireland joined to form the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. During the 19th century, the United Kingdom became a world power, with great influence on global politics, economics, and culture. The 20th century was a period of great change for the United Kingdom. During World War I, the country fought alongside the Allies and suffered huge human losses. In World War II, the country was again a key ally and played a major role in the victory over the Axis powers. After World War II, the United Kingdom experienced a period of reconstruction and economic growth, but also faced a number of political challenges, including the struggle for independence in India and the growing demand for autonomy in Scotland and Wales. In the 1970s, the United Kingdom joined the European Economic Community, the forerunner of the European Union. However, in 2016, the country voted to leave the EU in a referendum known as Brexit, which led to a great deal of political and economic uncertainty in the country. The UK has a highly developed and diverse economy, which ranks at the 6th largest in the world. The country's economy is driven by a variety of sectors, including financial services, manufacturing, tourism, technology, and energy. London is the most important financial and commercial center of the United Kingdom and one of the most important in the world. In short, The UK is an island country with a diverse economy and a long cultural and sporting history. It has faced political challenges in recent years, but remains a major player in global politics and economy. So, as we know, the history of the United Kingdom stretches back over 10,000 years, so it's extremely difficult to take into account everything that happened during those 10,000 years. But I think we condense it quite clearly. Maybe you can add something, maybe you can remove something from here, but I think the schematic form that we choose is great. Okay, let's move on to the cultural framework of the United Kingdom. Starting with language and literature. Concerning language and literature, during the Norman period, language changed a great deal and had a lot of Norman French borrowings. During the Middle Ages, few people could go to university. Literacy increased greatly during the mid-16th century, and playwrights like Christopher Marlowe and William Shakespeare filled theatres with their play. British festivals. Britain is full of traditions. We can mention some British festivals, such as Halloween on October the 31st, Bonfire Night on November the 5th, Christmas on December the 25th, New Year's Eve on the 31st of December, and St. Valentine's Day on February the 14th. Regarding education, in Britain there are state schools, publicly maintained schools, and private schools. The compulsory schooling is from 5 to 16 years old. Education within the maintained school system involves two stages, primary and secondary. At the age of 16, pupils take the GCSE exam, General Certificate of Secondary Education. 2 years later, pupils take some exams called A-levels to get into university. In the United Kingdom, there are some of the world's most famous universities, including the University of Oxford and Cambridge. So this is everything that we should know. Maybe we need some more information, but as you know, in 2 hours it's difficult, of Great Britain. I'm moving on to Ireland, that is one of if not my favorite country apart from Spain. Ireland is an island in Western Europe that is divided into two parts, the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, which is part of the United Kingdom. The island has a rich history dating back more than 9,000 years and has been home to various cultures and civilization over the centuries. During the Middle Ages, the island was ruled by different clans and kingdoms, including the Vikings, the Normans, and the English. In the 16th century, England began to colonize Ireland and established increasing control over the island. In the 19th century, many Irish people began to fight for independence, and the country faced a series of violent conflicts. In 1922, the Republic of Ireland was established as an independent state, although Northern Ireland remained under control of the United Kingdom. The division of the island and the fight for independence have been important themes in Irish history, and hence their influence on Irish politics and society today. During World War II, Ireland remained neutral and did not participate in the conflict. However, the country suffered the economic consequences of the war and faced severe food and fuel shortages. In the decades after the war, the Irish economy experienced significant growth, thanks in large part to a series of economic reforms and foreign investments. In the 1990s, the Irish economy experienced a boom known as the Celtic Tiger, fueled largely by the growth of high-tech and financial services industries. It is very interesting because many different companies, high-tech companies like Google, Meta, Tesla, they have the headquarters of Europe in Ireland, in the Republic of Ireland, I mean. In Northern Ireland, the political and social situation has been more complex due to the religious and political division between Unionists, Protestants, and Nationalist Catholics. In the 1960s, a violence broke out, lasting more than 3 decades and leaving more than 3,500 dead. In 1998, a peace agreement known as the Good Friday Agreement was reached, ending much of the violence and laying the groundwork for a more peaceful and unified future in Northern Ireland. Today, the Republic of Ireland is a parliamentary democracy, an advanced economy with a high quality of life and a rich culture and history. Northern Ireland remains a part of the United Kingdom and has experienced a great level of stability and peace since the 1998 peace agreement. So very important to differentiate between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. Let's move on to the United States of America. You know, if not the most important country in the world, one of the most important countries in the world, both cultural, economical, and, well, they give a lot to us. So let's just start with the geographical framework of the United States of America. Regarding physical aspects, the United States of America is a vast and diverse country with coastline on the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans and the Gulf of Mexico, not the Gulf of America. The eastern part is characterized by rolling hills, fertile plains, and various forests. The Appalachian Mountains stretch from Maine to Georgia, while the Great Lakes lie along the northern border. The central portion is home to the Great Plain, a vast area of flat grassland, while the Rocky Mountains dominate the western landscape. The western coastal region features rugged coastlines, high cliffs, and mountain range. The country has numerous national parks and natural monuments, such as the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone National Park, and Niagara Falls. Regarding political aspects, the USA is a federal republic made up of 50 states. The capital of the country is Washington, D.C., and the monetary unit is the dollar. There are two legislative houses, the House of Representatives and the Senate. The head of the government is the President, Donald Trump now. Historical framework. The history of the United States begins with the arrival of indigenous people who had inhabited the land for thousands of years before the arrival of Europeans. European explorers began to arrive in the 16th century, with permanent settlements established by the English, French, Spanish in the 17th century. The colonies grew and prospered, but tension with Great Britain led to the American Revolution in 1775, which resulted in the Declaration of Independence, the 4th of July, 1776. The country expanded rapidly in the 19th century, expanding westward and acquiring new territories. The issue of slavery divided the country, leading to the Civil War from 1861 to 1865, which resulted in the abolition of slavery and the reunification of the country. In the 20th century, the country became a world superpower, with significant participation in both World War I and World War II. The civil rights movement in the 1950s and 1960s led to major advances in racial equality, while the Cold War dominated foreign policy. Today, the United States remains a world leader in politics, economics, and culture. Regarding cultural framework from the United States, I have to say that the dominant culture in the USA is the Anglo-Saxon. Language and literature. American literature has made significant contribution to the world's literary canon, with renowned authors such as Mark Twain, Ernest Hemingway, and Toni Morrison. The country has a strong literary tradition, with numerous prestigious universities and literary festivals, and is home to major publishing houses and literary magazines. American holidays. Most American festivals are Anglo-Saxons, although they are commemorated in a distinctly American way. For example, St. Valentine's Day, Easter, Halloween, Christmas. However, there are two holidays which are typically American: July the 4th, Independence Day, and Thanksgiving Day, the fourth Thursday in November. Education. There are two types of schools in the USA: state schools, which are public schools, and private schools. The school system involves different stages: kindergarten, elementary, junior, and high school. There is no fixed school living age, but all states require pupils to attend school between 6 to 16 years old. We finish with the United States of America. So let's see other English-speaking countries, which will be, as I said before, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Canada. Canada is a vast country in Northern America, bordered by the United States of America to the south and the Arctic Ocean to the north. It has a diverse population of more than 38 million people, with English and French as official languages. The country is known for its stunning natural landscapes, including the Canadian Rockies, vast forests, and lakes such as the Lake Ontario and Lake Huron. The main cities are Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, and Ottawa, the capital. Canada has a strong economy, with industries such as natural resources, technology, and manufacturing. The country is also known for its universal health system, multiculturalism, and reputation as a peaceful and welcoming nation. Australia and New Zealand. Australia and New Zealand are neighboring countries located in the southern Pacific Ocean. Australia is the world's sixth largest country and has a population of over 25 million people. It is known for its diverse landscapes, including the Great Barrier Reef, the outback, and numerous beaches. The major cities are Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, and Adelaide, with Canberra as the capital. New Zealand is a smaller country with a population of around 5 million people. It is known for its stunning landscapes, including the Southern Alps, glaciers, and beaches. The major cities are Auckland, Wellington, and Christchurch, with Wellington serving as the capital. Both countries have strong economies, with industries such as tourism, agriculture, and technology. They share a rich indigenous history and have vibrant cultural scenes, with music, art, and sports playing important roles in their respective societies. So now that we have a look at all these countries, its culture, its history, its economy, little bit, okay? Let's see how can we take all this information and put it into practice in our class. Let's see the didactic application of relevant geographical, historical, and cultural aspects, which is a very important part in this topic. Because, as we know, it's a topic we are doing in Oposiciones. After having talked about the geographical, historical, and cultural framework, we're going to analyze the didactic application of relevant geographical, historical, and cultural aspects. As we stated before, the English teacher must introduce relevant knowledge about the countries where English is spoken and the people who speak it, so the students can develop their socio-cultural competence. We will start by focusing on how to teach our students geographical aspects of the foreign language. A good way to deal with this purpose could be showing the students a map of Europe to see if they can identify where Spain is. Then, we can explain the United Kingdom location and ask them questions about if they think it's big or small, which are the oceans which surround the island, what the weather is like there, or which are the jobs they think people do, the food, the sports they practice. This is much more fun when we or I use Google Earth or Google Maps to see where we are and then travel to other countries with English speakers. They also like to make their own United Kingdom map distinguishing the capital cities and writing their names, for example using real photos from the country such as landscapes, animals, big cities, or people celebrating any cultural festivity or practicing sports. In this way, we can practice orally some simple structures to describe there is, there are, or playing games such I spy with my little eye, and the rest of the class have to guess the word the student is referring to. Focusing on historical aspects, we can find different activities to work in class in the book of Carol Reed, 500 Activities for the Primary Classroom. In her book, Carol Reed proposes a discussion comparing two groups. One's like if they lived during the Victorian times, and the other representing their life now or in the future. They can practice diary routines or daily routines but thinking or imagining how they would be in the past or in the future. Aspects such as means of transport, food, sports, songs, or clothes can be worked to have some fun, and they would realize their difference. Then, as a conclusion, they can think about where they would like to live more in the past or future, giving some arguments to their answer, and listening to other classmates' points of view. We can also teach our students British cultural aspects or English cultural aspects. For example, we celebrate in class some festivities as English children do, such Christmas, St. Valentine's Day, Halloween, Easter, etc. We need at least a complete session to work an activity like this. We can follow Jeremy Hama's proposal. For example, for the presentation stage, we introduce the topic with some pictures about the celebration. In this stage, we are practicing previous knowledge, colors, shapes, numbers, and also they have the opportunity to ask for some vocabulary they don't know yet. After the teacher's explanation, it's time for them to talk. That's what Jeremy Hama called the controlled practice stage. Here, the students have a task to do. For example, if we can have computers on this day, they like to look for specific information in groups as a research game. In this stage, they are reading information about the presented topic and also writing answers, simple or more complex depending on the level of the class and depending on the age. Finally, they are prepared to the freer practice stage where they expose in front of others, which are also practicing the listening, what they found about the festivity, or they can also prepare a simple project and explain it to the rest of the class. Now, without being corrected by the teacher, just in case of a misunderstanding during the communication. There are other activities we can do in class that will help our students learn important aspects of English culture, geography and history. For example, quizzes. Quizzes is one of the most successful activity types. Can be used to test material that you have previously taught, but they are also useful in learning new information. You should ask the students to answer true or false to each of the questions in pairs or groups. They will share their existing knowledge and common sense to give answers. The right answers can be given by the teacher through reading, listening, or video. At this point, extra information can be provided. Some other activities that we found useful include games, role plays, reading activities, discussion activities, and singing. The most important point is to ensure that students are actively engaged in the target language and the target culture. Watching short videos or reading stories, which present important aspects of the English culture and society, is also extremely important. The learners are engaged in activities that involve contrasting English culture and their own one in order to raise their awareness of the diversity that exists across these cultures. And finally, teachers and students can find valuable information by using internet about the English-spoken countries and their culture, finding out cultural facts which can be contrasted with students' own culture. As a conclusion, I would like to say that the learning of a language implies much more than learning notional or functional aspects. Any language has a cultural background that must be learned to improve competence in that language. Successful communication, it is said, depends not only on linguistic competences, but also on the ability to communicate across cultural differences. This applies, for example, to give information about a language community's historical and cultural background and shared values and beliefs. Nowadays, English has become an international language mainly due to political and economic reasons. We must introduce relevant knowledge of the countries where English is spoken and the people who speak it. This will encourage our students' interest, affection, understanding, and tolerance of English-speaking countries. So, as you know, it's very, very, very important. It's crucial to teach culture, to teach cultural framework, to teach historical aspects and geographical aspects of the culture that we want students to learn. So that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for being there, and I will see you in the next analysis of the topic.